This is how I spent $4 grand on a date with a girl who didn't even like me. I think just like I treat my job. I have a systematic semi-automated system for building top of the funnel. So when I'm in the game, I'm scheduling quite a few back to back. And when I tell you in San Antonio, the pickings are slim, the pickings are slim. I really like this girl. When I really like a girl, I have a good first date, I generally push for an accelerated program to see, is this gonna work or not? And in my mind, trips are a great way to do that.
The major thing that I'm picking up on is it felt very much like you were love bombing her. I think it's happened. I'm too cynical. I'm too cynical when it comes to men. I'm probably too cynical in life, in real life in general. And I try not to be. But I think I may be too cynical when it comes to men because I listened to this whole story and the whole time, like I couldn't help but just be like, feel like, so what? Like, I don't know. I just, at the end of it all, I was just like, okay, you're bad. But, and there's a reason why. There's a reason why I feel like that, because I think what we're about to hear is if it were in reverse, it wouldn't, I don't think it's a big deal when it's in reverse. Like I think that I hear this all the time in reverse. All the time I hear this in reverse. So I'm like when I hear it coming from a man for once, I'm like, okay. Like it just really is the entitlement of men that I feel like where this thing comes into question. And again, because I don't care about like the amount of money you spend. I don't care about any of that stuff. That doesn't, you know, obviously you had the money to spend, so it didn't mean nothing. Spending out, you guys will see. I don't want to bury the lead, as they say, but let's get into it.
This is how I spent $4 grand on a date with a girl who didn't even like me. So I've been single since June and dating since September. I'm a salesperson, so I treat dating just like I treat my job. I have a systematic semi-automated system for building top of the funnel. So when I'm in the game, I'm scheduling quite a few back to back. And when
Sorry, just weird. Just weird already. Like I'm not. Just how he's talking about it is just very robotic, very NPC. But that's me.
just like I treat my job. I have a systematic semi-automated system for building top of the funnel. So when I'm in the game, I'm scheduling quite a few back to back. And when I tell you in San Antonio, the pickings are slim, the pickings are slim. I went on a lot of dates, made some small connections, but there was nothing that really had that spark. No dates with that je ne sais quoi, that, heart fluttering feeling. One of my friends has a coworker who I saw through Instagram. I thought she was incredibly beautiful and her friends spoke extremely highly of her, so I just came out the gate strong. I slid in her DMs and I invited her to the nicest restaurant in San Antonio. Michelin, by the way. The first date was so-so. Conversation was flowing well. She drinks. She pressured me into drinking, which I did and I regret. We ended up going for cocktails after dinner. We're vibing, breaking the touch barrier. I go in for a kiss and she swerves me. That was my first red flag. My ego. That hadn't happened in a decade, bro. That hit me. But anyways, I'm a soldier, so I persisted. I was actually in New York from Tuesday to Thursday the following week for a work trip. Now, throughout the course of the dinner, we discussed how much we both enjoyed fine dining and going to Michelin restaurants. There's a 3-star Michelin restaurant in New York called 11 Madison Park. Me being the eternal romantic, I'm on the plane and I'm like, I wonder if they have a reservation. Lo and behold, they had one reservation, 10 p.m. Thursday night. And it's worth mentioning, I don't do this all the time. I really like this girl. When I really like a girl, I have a good first date, I generally push for an accelerated program to see, is this gonna work or not? And in my mind, trips are a great way to do that. Last 2 times I did this ended in relationships. So anywho, I invited her to come. I already had plans on Saturday, so I booked her a trip from Thursday night until Saturday morning. 36 hours in New York. She's never been. She's chronically online, so I knew she probably had some New York reels. So I said, hey, what things do you really want to do? And so she sent me a bunch of reels, and I was just going to make it happen. I put together a full itinerary. Her flight was delayed, so she arrived late, and I said, don't even worry about it. Show up when you show up. As soon as she got there, she said, take all the time you need to get dressed. The place that she wanted to go first was this trendy bar, which was near the hotel that I booked. Did that on purpose. I walked around the corner. I slipped the hostess $100. I made sure we still had a table. From there, we had our amazing 8-9 course meal at 11 Madison Park. Night 1 done. We get back to the room, and the first thing I tell her, hey, I know this is only our second date. I just want you to know, even though there's only one bed, I have 0 expectations. I was a complete gentleman. We cuddled. Great night. She's a big yoga fan, so I booked us a private yoga class the following morning. Took her to have her first New York bagel, ate it in Central Park, and then we took the train to Williamsburg so she could try this trendy sushi place she wanted to go to. Once again, she convinced me to drink, ended up getting drunk. We're making out, we're having a good time. I'm like, okay, shit, the vibes are there. Plans for the evening were a Broadway show, Death Becomes Her, and then she loves to dance, she loves reggaeton, and so I got us VIP for a reggaeton club. gets way too drunk and passes out in the play. And so during the intermission, we go home. When we get home, the vibe has completely shifted. Following morning, give her a peck, say goodbye, boom. At this point in my gut, I had a feeling this wasn't working out. But I have a bunch of girlfriends that I talk to when I'm dating and getting advice. They're like, no, maybe she's just this, maybe she's just that. So I'm like, all right, do one more date. Did one more date. She came to my crib. I cooked her dinner. Just vibes weren't there. But you know what? I'm not mad. There's always a silver lining. And the silver lining to this situation is I am grateful for the experience because it made me realize that I can feel that feeling again. Feel that feeling of excitement, feeling like having a real crush, feeling that mild obsession. I hadn't felt that since my breakup. And so I'm grateful for that whole experience.
Okay. And I don't want to be too harsh on this guy, but there's a lot of weird statements he made in here. The way that he's talking about the date, he kept referring to her as a girl. But the major thing that I'm picking up on is it felt very much like you were love bombing her. That's what it felt like. It felt over the top. I'm just gonna tell you, just like it felt over the top. And I'm not saying that you didn't genuinely, like, that's just not the person you are and you don't just live that lifestyle all the time or whatever. Something makes me think, well, not something. You literally said, I don't do this all the time. So why'd you do it with her? Because you were trying hard, because you were desperate, because you were love bombing her. I've been there. I've done it before. I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like not when you necessarily feel like the woman is like out of your league. You don't, like, I didn't feel like that at the time. I didn't feel like she was out of my league. What I felt like was she wasn't giving me the energy that I was giving her or the energy that I wanted, right? When the women that I dealt with up until that point, when I dealt with them, the vibe was completely different. They just like, a lot of them approached me right off the bat. They would like, call me, text me. I would text them. They would text me right back. This girl, this woman, I can say we were a girl. We were really young, so she probably really was a girl. But anyways, this woman, when I would text her, she wouldn't text me back right away. She texted me back 5 hours later, if at all. She might text. I would double text. I would call. She wouldn't answer. I would call her on Monday. She would call me on Wednesday and apologize for missing my call on Monday. And it just like a lot of that, right? And I just kept it up. And I did a bunch of things that I wouldn't normally have done, but like I was I was trying hard. Like I was doing things out of my character. And I think she felt that. I think she picked up on that. I do. And it made it seem like it was disingenuous. Did I genuinely like her? Yes. But I don't know this dude, but even just based on what he was saying, I can tell you one of the things that was like one of the most driving largest factors was how physically attractive she was to me. Like that really, it wasn't that, and she was dope. Don't get me wrong. She was very, we had a lot in common too. I don't want to like I'll be remiss if I didn't say that. But it was really about me. I had similarly to him, I had just came out of a breakup. I was trying to, I was like, I was desperate to get her, not to get any woman, to get her. Like I wanted a woman like her. I was like, this is the woman. Like I have to have her. And it again, it was probably the only time in my adult life where I did things that they just weren't me. Like I said, they just weren't me. I just shouldn't have been doing it. Period. I can't say it any differently or give any more detail to that. And I'm sorry, but that's really what it was. I didn't like make her feel uncomfortable. I didn't harass her, none of that. And same thing with him. Like she would apologize all the time. We hung out a few times, you know what I'm saying? Like it was never anything like that. I never like made her do anything or, whatever. But it was just I was very it was like a simp. Like that's what you would call being a simp, I would think. I did allow her, she didn't use me at all. So I don't know if it would be 100% in that, but just, I really was just trying extra hard and doing things that I normally didn't do. And it sounds very similar to what this dude is describing. And the fact that he mentioned he spent $4,000 and he said that he doesn't normally do this is the largest indicator for me that this isn't you. You were trying too hard. You were probably, like he said, it was like a crush. You got this thrill. It was a feeling. But it really was just based on how attractive she was because she wasn't even giving you the vibe. You know what I mean? Like he even said the first date, they were like, hey, it went cool. She made me drink. I didn't want to drink, doing things that he didn't want to do, simp type behavior. um, spending a lot of money, being extra attentive when she wasn't, it wasn't being reciprocated because it's okay to be attentive, but it was no reciprocation there. Like it just came off as you were love bombing her. That's why, and maybe I'm being cynical, but like same thing with me. As I got further away from that relationship, like after it, you can't even say it was a relationship, but after our little situation ran its course, and I look back on it, especially like as an adult, like the older I got, I was like, yeah, that was weird. Like I shouldn't have acted like that. Like I acted, and it wasn't like I regretted it necessarily. Like with him, it wasn't that I was like on some like I was embarrassed. Like it wasn't that. I just knew that it wasn't right. I knew that it like that's not the way that you should present yourself to a woman because I've always before that and after I've always felt like the way that I start the relation like like I should get better. My behaviors should become better and better and better. It shouldn't be that basically I should be able to maintain whatever I do in the beginning of the relationship. I should be able to maintain that throughout the relationship. That's what I'm saying. And I've seen many and plenty of men start off a relationship like that, New York, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Just whatever that was, the equivalent of that, right? Just at various times, various places in my life. So it wasn't necessarily like dollar for dollar, but just spending a lot of money, spending a lot of time. Oh, what can I do for you? Oh, you're my queen. Da, 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 da. Then they get her, and the woman will be talking about like, oh yeah, I remember when we first started dating. He used to open up all the doors for me, and he used to hold my hand when we walked. And now he's walking 5 feet ahead of me, and now he's like, when I call him, he doesn't answer, and I'm like, yeah, see, I think that's fucked up. I think that's very fucked up. You know, I would love for it to be, in the middle, like I'm sorry, from the beginning, you're just like a decent human being. It should be like that, right? But I would rather it be like you're a bit more guarded maybe in the beginning and whatever. And then now you trust her and now you love her and now you appreciate her. And so you start to act accordingly. Now you're like, all right, let me start opening up doors, whatever that is. I'm not the performative, chivalrous guy like in that way. But whatever it is for you. I would rather it be that than the other way. I would rather it be you under promise and over deliver than over promise and under deliver. The under delivery is, I think, atrocious. And because if that woman likes you and you are not like you aren't even the best version of yourself, then it should all be downhill from here because you're just gonna get better and come on stronger and stronger and stronger, right? But in so many of these cases, men start off like this and they can't maintain this. You can't take that woman to New York every month. You can't afford to go to 5-star, 3-star Michelin restaurants every other week. Like it's not, you know what I mean? Like you're not gonna do that. So I think it's very important to be as close, to the type of person that you're gonna be during the relationship as possible. And I just truly believe in my heart of hearts that that woman picked up on that vibe. And here's what I was saying in the beginning, because when I was talking about like maybe I'm a little like jaded and maybe I'm a little cynical, I think it's because historically women just do so much. They do so much for men. Fuck the money. Like women, that what he described, how he was paying attention to her, he did a really good job in so many areas. I don't want to take away from that. Oh, I know that he asked her, he was like, hey, what do you want to do? Like he included her in the plans. He in a conversation, they talked about going to Michelin star, 2 1-star, 3-star restaurants. He remembered that. He set it up. He like that, all of that was great. All of that was awesome. All of that was awesome. But again, I think that because I read a lot of the comments, a lot of people were like, and rightfully so to some extent, they were like coddling him a little bit. And I get that. But it's like, where is that? appreciation for women, the average woman. And it really is the best man is the average woman. I'm not even playing. A great man is the average woman because this is the type of shit that I'm used to women doing for me.
I'm gonna be a bitch for a sec. I work full time. I go to school full time. I show up for my mom. I show up for my 3 best friends. I show up for my sister who's in prison, mind you. My brother passed away last year. My brother and my dog in the same week. I got a puppy February of this year. Went through a major abdominal surgery February of this year. I'm on hormone therapy. Throughout all of that, I've maintained a 4.0. I'm a part of an honor society. I got a degree. I'm getting another degree. And guess what I have? A boyfriend that I still show up for, that I still make feel special. Okay? So your man has no fucking excuse. There are women who are doing everything that I'm fucking doing and that are mothers on top of it and still show up for their fucking husbands. Men have no excuse why they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Everybody has a fucking job. You don't get to use that as an excuse why you don't show up for people. Get it together. Learn how to emotionally regulate yourself and be a fucking man. Sack up. Because women out here got some big fucking balls. Big ones. They're getting a little larger than yours.
Like she said, yeah, I know a lot of women that are going through similar things to me and they're mothers too, and they still show up for their husbands. Exactly. Like that story that he told isn't, I don't know, the equivalent of that for a one, like, this is way crazier than the shit that he said. That $4,000, like, who gives a? Because the only thing that was like crazy about that story was how much money he spent. See what I'm saying? Like that was it. The rest of the shit he said was just like normal. So you paid attention to a woman, you were nice to her, and she still rejected you. Okay, that happened. So fucking what? It was just like, oh man, I spent $4,000 on her. That was it, and that's why he said that at the beginning. That's why he mentioned that at the beginning of the video. The rest of that shit is just par for the course, bare minimum, if you will. I'm just so used to like seeing, not even hearing, because my wife does this type of stuff. Like I'm just used to seeing all the things that women do and how they always show up for their boyfriends and their significant others. And then compared that to a man that's like, yeah, you know, I just spent a little money on this woman and she ended up not liking me. But like the most important thing is like, I spent $4,000 on this woman. And then he's like, it's like he wants a cookie for being like, oh, and I still like believe in love. Women be getting hands and feet put on them. Women be women be getting like almost unalive, like killed by their boyfriends and their spouses and shit like that. Women be getting abused for 15 years and then like they're like, oh yeah, that was terrible. That guy was terrible. Like that man was terrible. And then, but my new husband, and then she's married. I'm like, oh my fucking God, I couldn't imagine it. I couldn't imagine getting abused by somebody for that long and then, you know, being like ever being in a situation where that could happen again as a man. It just wouldn't happen. We're not that resilient. But yeah, shout out to him. I'm glad he still believes in love and all of that stuff. But you know, again, maybe just let me know. Am I tripping? Because like I just don't care. I was just like, what ifs?